Ron in Florida, who had a question specifically for you. Welcome to the show, Ron.
Hey, Matt, how's it going? Hi, Hector.
Doing well.
Hello.
So I actually had a question specifically for Hector, kind of along the lines of psychology. My brother is suffering from various mental illnesses, and my family has kind of been separated by that. Like, he's kind of isolated himself, and they've isolated themselves from him just mostly because of that. And my family has kind of taken up the mantle of, well, he just needs to learn to power through it, and he just needs to learn to get over it. And that's what we did. That's what he has to do. And I don't know how to combat properly. I don't find myself equipped well enough to know how to combat that argument properly. And I was wondering if I could have some advice on that.
Oh gosh. How old is your brother?
He's like 24, 25.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, he can seek mental health help on his own without them, right? So I mean, changing their perspective on mental health, that's an ongoing challenge. I mean, it's not a matter of strength. It's not a matter of just pulling yourself up from your bootstraps. I mean, there's a whole neurophysiological basis for a lot of our psychiatric conditions that I think maybe they could benefit from learning about that. I'm sure there's tons of videos online about that. But as far as him getting the help he needs, are they a barrier to that?
A little bit. It's less of a barrier than he's kind of putting up a lot of the barriers himself, but it's more of a community barrier. So, like, he doesn't have as many resources as, he finds it hard to reach out. He doesn't have a lot of friends. He doesn't have a lot of people he can reach out to. And, he's always been close with me and my family. And so it's kind of more of a mental barrier than anything, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much stigma, I think, about mental health that I personally and a lot of people try to fight just through education. There's tons of educational resources online to expose people to telling your story, getting people education. I mean, what can you do? Seeing it as a personal weakness. I mean, that's how old are your parents? It sounds like a very kind of old school way of looking at mental health.
Yeah, no, they're definitely on the older side. They kind of subscribe to that more traditional view of like you said, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and that's not really the way it is anymore. So it's very hard to convince them. So I was just kind of hoping to see if I could get some more tips and help expand my toolbox in that manner, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, there are online resources for that all over the web. Just look up, combating MH stigma, and they're neatly packaged and easily digestible. I mean, that's the way to go. And sometimes you just won't be able to reach people, but you know what? You ignore that when you have to and get the help that you need, because it's not a personal failing. It's mental health is not something people choose, normally speaking.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Ron. Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating that, granted, when I have people, and this doesn't just relate to dealing with things like depression or whatever, any potential subject where someone comes up with where they've become a Google PhD, where they went out and did some searching and they found some sources, and now they're the expert, and they're going to be the Don McElroy of this discussion and stand up to these experts. I'm happy to have a conversation with them to try to point out where they're wrong. But at some point you get to diminishing returns, where if I keep talking to you, all we're doing is going around in circles. We're helping nobody. And at that point, I'm just going to say, I'm going to trust the actual doctors and not your ability to Google.
Yeah, I mean, some of these questions are easily answerable, I mean, like that one. But yeah, I agree.